Hello everyone, it's me, Juan, Give me 54 about a video. Today, we're back. So after basically doing a review of Kung Fu Panda, which you will most likely find in the description box of below, go check it out, where I talk about Kung Fu Panda 4, I figured, why not? We're going to be tackling film theory that is now being hosted by Lee. So Lee, congratulations, being the person to now basically be the head of film theory. I cannot wait what you got here. You got Oogway in front of us, so that's gotta be heat. So, yeah, we're gonna be doing the cycle of hatred, I guess. The cycle of evil, I guess. So, without further ado, let's get to it, shall we?
This may be the world you want, the world you envision, but
Yeah.
because of your mistakes, your missteps, this.
No, not the Valley of Peace.
And the only way to stop it, to save it, never listen to this turtle.
What?
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Film Theory, the show that knows that the secret to theorizing was inside of you all along. And just to start, I'm sure many of you are probably a little bit confused right now. Why did MatPat's voice suddenly drop a couple of octaves? Is this a true crime podcast now? Well, not exactly. Obviously, I am not MatPat. My name is Lee. It's great to meet you. I own 4 swords, and I've lost a game of Mario Party to Vegeta. Well, his voice actor. He's a nice guy. I've actually been working behind
You lost to Vegeta?
channels for going on 10 years now. No joke, I was the 3rd editor Matt ever hired all the way back in like August of 2014.
Wow.
The very first episode was the Peach is Dead game theory, but I've since been able to keyframe my way out of the editor dungeon, and I've had a hand in film theory since the very beginning. I've
Nice.
written or edited countless videos for the channels. Like literally, I tried to count them and I have no idea. They all kind of just blur together at some point. Like, I think I did Gaster? Not Sans' Nest though, that was all Matt's. Regardless, I know this is a big change, and I know it's a lot. I'd say
Yeah.
that this meme that's been floating around really kind of sums it up best.
My time has come.
Don't remind me, Lee.
You must continue your journey without me.
What are you... But something else that this
That-
meme reminded me of, the fact that Kung Fu Panda 4 is right about to hit theaters as of the time of writing. And now that I've taken up the mantle of the film theorist, I can't wait to watch it. In case you don't know, Kung Fu Panda is about...
I'm sorry to tell you, Lee, but I am from the future. I am from the future of May... Well, not really May, but, of March 2024. And I must tell you that the movie is... You know what? I'm not going to say it. Go check out the review. All right? That's what my thoughts are Kung Fu Panda 4 is.
a panda obsessed with kung fu and the martial arts masters that live in his village. Master Oogway the tortoise, the Furious Five, and Master Shifu, who is apparently a red panda. Despite not having any traditional kung fu training, Po is named the dragon warrior that will gain limitless power, much to the confusion and frustration of all the other masters. By the end, Po and the others learn that the limitless power is not some magical technique or hidden energy. It's the realization that you were special just the way you are. I was practically raised on these sorts of animated homages to martial arts like Jackie Chan Adventures and Shaolin Showdown, so I really connected with the Kung Fu Panda films. The wholesome message of loving yourself in 1, the heartfelt themes of family in 2, the killer animation in 3, and that's not even mentioning the multiple spin-off series and web shows and even a holiday special. But the thing I respected the most, the restraint of not using the song Everybody Was Kung Fu Fighting until the 3rd movie. That is true power. But of course, when you consume that much content as a theorist, you're bound to notice some inconsistencies, specifically when it comes to everyone's favorite old kindly kung fu tortoise, Master Oogway. See, between the hours of meditation and giving out cryptic advice, like
Quit, don't quit, noodles,
he's creating more problems than he's solving. He is
What?
not the wise master that this series has made him out to be. In fact, he fails pretty much everyone he has ever taught, leaving his students in a worse place than where they started. And the most disgraceful part of it, his flaws have created cycles of abuse and miscommunication that threaten to go on and on unless someone steps up to stop it. Look within yourself and cook your noodles, loyal theorists.
Okay, that's a little bit of a big statement right there. I mean, like, I will never disrespect Master Oogway, but, I mean, I guess technically speaking, Kai was a big problem. And I'm talking big problem. I mean, Kai literally took his chi, so I mean, like...
It's time for some kung fu fighting. Skadoosh! So how in the world am I gonna make the argument that adorable old Master Oogway is actually the absolute worst? Well, it comes down to what I have identified as his three major flaws. His lies, his teaching, and his legacy. Let's start with Oogway's first major flaw, his lies. The entire conflict of the first movie is built completely on Oogway's lies about the Dragon Warrior. See, the Dragon Warrior is a prodigy of kung fu who would be worthy to learn the secret held within the Dragon Scroll. When they open the scroll, the Dragon Warrior would be granted limitless power, something they love to bring up in the first movie.
You think it's that easy? That I'm just going to hand you the secret to limitless power? The scroll has given him power!
No!
By Master Oogway, who said that the Dragon Warrior would protect both the Valley of Peace and its inhabitants.
It is as Oogway foretold. You have brought peace to this valley and to me.
But at the climax of the first movie, we learn that the legend of the Dragon Warrior is
just a fluke.
After Poe finally opens the scroll, he finds only a blank, shiny canvas, though he later sees himself in the scroll's reflection, realizing that
there is no secret ingredient.
The secret power of the Dragon Warrior was just to believe in yourself. Classic, the power was inside of you all along sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Regardless, the legend of the Dragon Warrior was never true, and all of it was something that Oogway made up to encourage others to train in Kung Fu, to get better, and to protect the Valley of Peace. Basically, it was kind of a deterrent. If you're a bad guy, you wouldn't want to attack the Valley of Peace because it may cause the legendary Dragon Warrior to rise up and defeat you. But therein lies the problem.
Nah, Tai Lung got wronged, man. Like, I after looking back at it, it's like, dang, Tai Lung literally spent years in jail, got him like Kratos in the underworld, had to fight his former father, I guess. Yeah, Shifu was technically his dad, adopted dad. Like, shoot, like he put the pause on Shifu. Do you not see that scrapping? Nah, Shifu was never the same again. And all for that, for a mirror? Nah, I would be mad just as Tai Lung.
The prophecy doesn't do that. In fact, it does the opposite, creating more havoc for the Valley of Peace than it prevents. The villain of the first film, Tai Lung, was once a student of Shifu and Oogway who showed a natural talent in Kung Fu. Enough so that Shifu considered him a serious candidate for Dragon Warrior. Tai Lung spent his whole life training, Shifu filling his head with stories that he was going to fulfill the prophecy. And because of this, Tai Lung pushed himself, hard enough to the point of physical injury.
Who filled my head with dreams? Who drove me to train until my bones cracked?
And yet,
who denied me my destiny? Sorry.
Warrior, shown that the secret of the power was just believing in himself, he was denied at the last hurdle. And why? Because Master Oogway got some bad vibes from him.
Oogway saw darkness in his heart and refused.
This ends up pushing Tai Lung over the edge as he goes on a rampage that terrorizes the Valley of Peace.
Come on.
Pushing Tai Lung over the edge as he goes on a rampage that terrorizes the Valley of Peace. Oogway's creation of the legend of the Dragon Warrior, this goal dangled before Tai Lung that he worked his entire life for, and that was never given to him with no explanation as to why, was the core reason why Tai Lung did his top 10 anime betrayal. If Oogway had never lied or explained to Tai Lung the truth about the Dragon Warrior instead of just walking away disappointed, Tai Lung probably would have been a pretty chill dude. A dedicated master of Kung Fu.
Or, maybe he'll be like, then what's my purpose? And maybe his purpose could have been, he could have been the next Shifu. I mean, if Shifu were to retire or pass, Tai Lung could have been the master to teach Poe. I'm not sure. I mean, who would have known, to be honest? But I mean, like,
Raised in the Valley of Peace and potentially part of the Furious Five. But
I didn't see that coming.
Race isn't the only preventable conflict created by Oogway's lie about the Dragon Warrior. In the video game adaptation of Kung Fu Panda 2, a Komodo dragon named Zhao Dan challenges Poe because he wants to prove that the Dragon Warrior is not strong enough to stop him.
Dogman City should belong
There's
to
a-
the strong, the cunning, the ruthless.
There's a Kung Fu Panda 2 video game?
And the legend Legends of Awesomeness TV series has a ton of villains who have a bone to pick with the Dragon Warrior. Kim the Invincible, obsessed with battling the strongest fighters in the world, travels to China because he wants to defeat the fabled Dragon Warrior. Hundun, a former guard of Tai Lung's prison, blames the Dragon Warrior for all of his troubles and learns Kung Fu specifically so he can destroy him. Quan the Unkillable tries to kill Po partially because he wants to defeat the Dragon Warrior and regain his fame. Even the Emperor's advisor uses Po's title as the Dragon Warrior in an attempted plot to take the throne for himself. I could go on, but you get the point. Rather than the Dragon Warrior...
Also, I don't know if Lee, you should have said this, but I think Legend of Awesomeness ended, but I think the final battle was literally the spirit, was literally a dragon. No, you heard me right. The final villain in the Legend of Awesomeness series was a dragon, which I think that was inspired of the Dragon Warrior. Now, I'm not really sure if Oogway had a part of it, but I know that there was some sort of 4 constellation avatars basically fighting them. One of them suspiciously looked like Tai Lung, might I add. I don't know, I might be just talking nonsense. Because I think Oogway had a part in that? Kinda? Maybe? I'm not sure. It's been a while since I watched Kung Fu Panda Legend of Awesomeness.
Deterring the bad guys. So many villains in this world only see Po as an obstacle, someone to outsmart, or overpower, or defeat. If Master Oogway's long-term goal was to get people to learn Kung Fu, congratulations, it worked. But at what cost? The creation of how many villains? And as a result of it all, time and time again, danger is brought to the Valley of Peace. But that's hardly the worst thing that this tortoise has done. Oogway's second major flaw? His teaching. Master Oogway is just not as good of a teacher as this series makes him out to be.
What you mean?
Lessons actually hurt more people than they help. We've already talked at length about Tai Lung and Oogway's refusal to step in and take a guiding hand there, but it goes so much further, especially in the Legends of Awesomeness TV series. Similar to Tai Lung, another former student of the Jade Palace that went bad was Feng Huang. She was personally trained by Master Oogway, but as she became more powerful, she challenged Oogway for control of the Jade Palace. In the show, it's framed as if Feng Huang had darkness in her heart, similar to Tai Lung. But just listen to exactly how what Feng Huang did was described.
As he trained her, she just got stronger, and that's when she started to change. She challenged Oogway to fight, declaring that she would be the master of the Jade Palace.
That's it. No, she tried to murder all the students. No, she tried to enslave the valley. No, I'm going to kill you specifically, Oogway. All she did was challenge Oogway for mastery of the Jade Palace in a fair fight. And what did Oogway do in response? Instead of doing nothing like he did with Tai Lung, Oogway did something even worse. He created an owl-shaped cage that was inescapable, perfectly fit for Feng Huang. Even if it's all true, and Feng Huang did start turning evil, which again, I'm not so sure of, all this means is that Oogway didn't even try talking to her. Instead, he saw the dark path that she started down and just decided that imprisoning her in an Iron Maiden was the best course of action. Exactly like we saw with Tai Lung. For those of you keeping count at home, that is now 2 times where Oogway...
Oh no. Tai Lung was even shook of like, dang, I'm not that evil. Dang. Nah. That was just 2 times. My boy Oogway would never. Unless you start bringing up Kai. In that case, Oogway, you betrayed me.
And done nothing about it. In other cases, where there is definitely some innate evil in some of his students, Oogway takes no action before they hurt other people. Case in point, Ding was a Kung Fu student at the Jade Palace who had incredible telekinetic abilities. To his credit, Oogway recognized this talent, but instead of taking Ding under his wing, Oogway sent him away to an order of monks to train. This led to tragedy when Ding grew impatient, using his abilities to hypnotize the monks and forcing them to jump to their deaths. There is just so much wrong with this. Like, if Oogway is so adept at sensing the darkness in people's hearts that he was willing to prepare a cage to lock up one of the Furious Five, his most trusted students, why didn't he sense Ding's darkness and put a stop to it before he murdered all of those innocent monks? But these sorts of special talents aren't always recognized. For example, there's Dao Dai, one of the series' recurring antagonists who helped Shifu construct the training hall of the Jade Palace.
Oh yeah,
he also became one of Oogway and Shifu's students, though he had a lot lot of trouble learning martial arts, but Dowdai had other skills, putting his talents in engineering to good use before constructing a giant wooden warrior that would fight for him.
I wanted to make up for my lackings, so I devised ingenious mechanical contrivances to compensate for my weak spots.
Okay.
Honestly, that's really cool, and something that should be celebrated. I mean, Kung Fu Panda is a franchise all about embracing who you are instead of trying to be someone else. So shouldn't this sort of inventiveness be held up? Not if you're Oogway. According to Dowdai, Oogway felt that
My machines had sullied the purity of Kung Fu.
way to gatekeep there, my guy. Time
Dang.
after time, in so many ways, Oogway's teachings fail many of his students, making villains out of them when they didn't need to be. And the only thing worse than that, what happens to his successful students?
No.
Oogway's third major flaw, his legacy. Oogway has
Oh dear. And you can tell, I bet it's basically about Shifu and Kai, I feel like. Because I really don't want to turn against Oogway like this, but you did kind of, erase Oogway. Oogway, I'm not going to lie to you, you did kind of erase General Kai's name off history. Like, no one even knows his name. No one knows Kai's name because of Oogway. The only way people know about Kai is that the scroll that Oogway made. And that was in Kung Fu Panda 3. Who knows how many time has passed since Kung Fu Panda 1 or 2?
passed down his prejudice for those that he's deemed unacceptable. And even the students that did live up to Oogway's expectations all inherit his worst traits. For example, let's start with Shifu. Just think about how Shifu treats Tai Lung after Oogway denounces him. Keep in mind, Shifu found Tai Lung as an infant and adopted him, raising him as a son. Tai Lung looked to Shifu for approval like a father.
What I did to make you proud!
Tell me how proud you are, Shifu.
But what does Shifu do when Oogway refuses to name Tai Lung the Dragon Warrior? Just shaking his head and walking away. Instead of comforting his son, talking to him, and encouraging him to keep at it, or going to Oogway and asking for an explanation, Shifu does nothing. This ends up taking a huge emotional toll on both Tai Lung and Shifu, destroying their relationship. And it also turns Shifu into a hardened and cold mentor instead of the father figure he was before Oogway's influence.
Yeah.
Tai Lung like he had never loved anyone before or since.
Look at that face. Tigress, at this point a child, clearly needs support and approval, and Shifu cannot give it because of Oogway's actions. Just like his own master, Shifu has become a...
Dang, don't do this to Shifu. But, yeah, and I'm not sure if this is canon or not, because I think there was a special where Poe basically tells the origin stories of each of the five, and Tigress was essentially Shifu's adopted daughter. Now, I'm not sure if this happened before Tai Lung or after Tai Lung, or I guess during when Tai Lung was there, but yeah, like, Tigress was essentially adopted by Shifu. So the fact that Shifu's now acting coldly to Tigress in the flashback in Kung Fu Panda 1, like, dang.
bad teacher. But even without taking into account this moment that must have been emotionally devastating for Shifu, there are situations where we see Shifu carry on the worst of Oogway's teachings. For example, we can look at the reaction when Oogway names Poe as the Dragon Warrior.
No. If the panda has not quit by morning, then I will have failed you.
You don't belong in the Jade Palace. You're a disgrace to Kung Fu, and if you have any respect for who we are, you will be gone by morning.
Instead of respecting the choice, Shifu and the rest are rude to Poe. They intimidate him and try to get him to give up on his dream of being a Kung Fu master.
Oh,
Leave
true.
the Jade Palace. They are gatekeeping Kung Fu, just like Oogway did with characters like Dao Dai. What's more, they continue Oogway's questionable tactics on how to deal with students that they deem to be headed down a dark path. In that episode introducing Fong Wong, the owl who was the most powerful of the Furious Five, the rest of the characters start treating Poe strangely. They worry that he's grown too powerful and will quote-unquote turn evil, just like Feng Long did. And
No.
Oogway made
No.
that sized owl-shaped cage
I don't remember that
Well,
episode.
the Furious Five were doing the exact
No!
creating creating a panda-shaped prison for him should he turn evil instead of, communicating with him. But the biggest tragedy here, after experiencing all of this himself, even Po isn't free from the horrible influence of Oogway and his teachings. In The Legends of Awesomeness, Po meets Tai Lung's nephew Peng, who is incredibly talented at Kung Fu. Po and Shifu decide that he should train at the Jade Palace, but
I'ma just say it like this. Peng should have been made canon. Tai Lung's nephew should have been made canon and be the Dragon Warrior in Kung Fu Panda 4. I'm just saying. I'm sorry for those who like the Wolf Girl. She's fine, but I feel like Peng should have been Dragon Warrior. I feel like he should have been canon about all this. I feel like it,
after Po sees the extent of Peng's skill, he gets jealous, to the point that he tells Peng that he must leave. He lies to Peng, explaining that he's
Not making the cut.
Now, where have I heard that story before? Po did exactly the same thing to Peng.
No, Po, why?
Telling a student that they weren't good enough without communicating, and the results turned violent. And it doesn't stop there, either. In another episode, three pigs ask Po to teach them some secret kung fu moves, but Po turns them down and smugly says,
That's why they're called secret moves? They're secret?
As a result, the pigs kidnap Shifu and force him to teach them kung fu instead, all to get revenge on Po. Just like Oogway and Shifu before him, Po is gatekeeping kung fu here and making an enemy out of someone he doesn't need to. And then later, in the series Paws of Destiny, 4 young pandas want to learn kung fu, but Po initially refuses to teach them because...
You haven't seen these kids. They're hopeless.
Po, buddy,
Po.
come here. Do you remember where you started? And also keep in mind that this series is set after Kung Fu Panda 3, which is all about learning that anyone can be a good fighter as long as they embrace what they're good at. Ironic, since Po seems to be more like Oogway than his own person here. The apple hasn't fallen far from the tree, or I guess it would be a peach in this case. The point is, Po
I haven't even
learned
watched the
ways
Paws of
peace
Destiny.
from Master Oogway or Shifu or the Furious Five. He's learned to be selfish, arrogant, and ensure that he's better than everyone else. At every turn, from his lies about the Dragon Warrior to his poor and cryptic style of teaching to even how his students carry on his legacy, Master Oogway did more harm than good for the world of Kung Fu Panda. And honestly, his teachings don't even live up to the core theming of the franchise. In a series all about embracing the best parts of yourself, Oogway is all too eager to find the worst traits in others, the darkness in their hearts, and throwing them away when they don't meet his expectations. And what's more, Oogway's gatekeeping goes directly against the meaning of Kung Fu itself. Though we associate Kung Fu mostly with martial arts, that isn't what it's limited to. In China, the term Kung Fu refers to anything that requires patience, discipline, and hard work. Yes, Oogway is supportive of characters like Po and Shifu, encouraging them to embrace what they're good at. But why doesn't he do that for the others? Why doesn't he celebrate the powerful drive of Tai Lung, the mechanical genius of Dao Dai, the ambition
Tai Lung
of
was
Feng
robbed,
Wang,
man. All the other villains I don't care about, but Tai Lung, he
with the
did
right
dirty.
guiding hand, the right mentor, they can become powerful tools in making the world a better place. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory.
Alright, so that's the end of the video. Dang. Now you just saying it? Dang, Oogway, I'm not gonna lie. You might be a fraud. I might have to start calling you Franklin. Because I might have to start calling you Franklin. Because there's no way. Dang. And Po. No, Po. Po, how are you going to say those 3 other pandas? You know, the same kids who, let's be honest, are like you. I mean, you thought that you was the last panda. You gonna call them helpless? I mean, hopeless? Po, we literally exposed you. We literally shown you in 4K. This you? Struggling to climb the stairs? To the Jade Palace? Nah, and again, this is me from the future, so I've watched Kung Fu Panda 4. Hopefully Kung Fu Panda 4, and I guess Kung Fu Panda 5 and 6, because apparently Kung Fu Panda 4 is the gateway to the Master Trilogy. Hopefully Po becomes a better Oogway. Hopefully, okay? I pray, because do not make my boy Po be a fraud like Megamind. Doom Syndicate, dang it. I still haven't watched the series yet. And I know someone is going to ask me to do the series. But anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Like the video so I know you guys enjoy. Comment down below what you guys think. And subscribe. We're trying to upload daily. This is One Gamer 4 signing off.